Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back to Shifting Lanes 2. My name's Chad and today, well, we have some sad news. As you've probably heard, Subaru has killed off the STI. Longest tenured and almost last hope for the all-wheel drive rally car for the road is another casualty of the current world we live in, where fun cars are being replaced more and more with either nothing or boring as hell crossovers. We lost the Evo, we lost the Focus RS, and now we've lost the STI. Now, I was never a huge Subaru fan. 22B, epic, peak Subaru, Hawkeye, good Subaru. Everything else from there was kind of but it is still sad to see an enthusiast car go away. And that's exactly what we talked about in our most recent stream. If you want to check out the streams, head on over to our Facebook page or check us out on Shifting Lanes Live on YouTube. We also discuss if there's any potential replacements for the STI or just the rally car for the road, but I think you're really going to enjoy it. And when you do, smash the like button, share it with a friend, and hit the notification bell. But that's it for me, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
There's some pretty huge news that came out recently.
Yeah.
They are not going to make an STI anymore. There was no lead up to it. Subaru basically just announced it the other day. It was just like, nope, no more STI.
It is really shocking because, I mean, you could have made actual buzz about the next generation Impreza WRX as it is and stuff. But if you made it the last gas-powered STI, people would want it, Just similar to how, like, the Evo 10 wasn't the best Evo, but people still wanted it because it was the last one. You would have had huge demand for it. They wouldn't have been able to keep them in the showrooms, but they decided not to. And I think, Greg, you'll go into more detail about this because it would be a limited production run.
There was an article that just came out today. I think Road and Track reported on it, basically saying if Subaru were to make this car, this new STI, on the new gen platform with the 2.4 and everything, the whole like revamp, it would have been like 1 to 2 year run, and then it would have been like kaput because of like how everything's going with like the government and saying, okay, well, all the new regulations, everything needs to be either EV or like hyper MPG, which that's sort of the path everyone was like going in. But to have it like this abrupt and for the manufacturer to say, oh well, it would have been produced for 1 to 2 years, like, well, why didn't you do that? You could have had this limited run, super sought after 2-year span of the last STI as like a gas powered STI. In the announcement they said, oh, well, STI, they'll make another one, but it'll probably be either, until like the EV technology kind of catches up for Subaru, that's what they'll make it. They'll bring it back as an EV, which, like, cool, that's awesome. I'm really excited to see what STI can make. Like, I'm excited to see what like all these JDM companies can make with like really high-end performing EV cars like that. Yeah. But this sort of seems like a cop-out, and I thought about it a little bit more today, and I really wonder, could, like, tinfoil hat going on, I really wonder if because of the online backlash that the WRX got because of its looks and like how controversial it's been, that they decided to just not make an STI version and save it for the EV version in a couple of years. I really wonder, because usually, historically, for the last 30 years, Subaru has made an STI alongside of the WRX. And Chad made a point earlier of, oh, well, how hard is it to just make a WRX into an STI? Really not that difficult. Couple of upgraded parts, upgraded engine, suspension, whatever parts here and there, bigger wing, a little bit more aggressive of a body, whether it be like lips or spoilers or side skirts or what have you. And there's your STI with bigger turbo or better tuning, whatever. It's not that difficult to make an STI out of a WRX from the manufacturers. My question is, I
totally agree with your last sentiment there. The justification for not bringing an STI for this generation was kind of weak, right? It was basically saying that, I forgot the guy's name, Infante, I think, from Subaru. He basically said that, based off of regulations, we can't really make the decision to build an STI because of that. The STI has always been the hotter version of the WRX. It's not like it's a standalone car that's been built up from the ground. It's just got like a more aggressive engine tuning. It's got better suspension bits. It's got bigger brakes, the body kit. So yeah, it doesn't make sense for them to just kind of cut it out. And the STI could have been like the thing that saved the current gen's WRX awful design, right? It's like, it's got all that black cladding.
Right.
You should come out with a WRX STI that kind of paint matches all that black cladding, and it'll make the car look so gorgeous, I bet. because it looks
Yeah, and
more like a wide version of the WRX, and it's just going to look more
Yes.
unique.
And you know what? I made a video about why the haters were wrong about the new WRX. What always happens with the WRX specifically is you get people literally saying, "Oh, this is such a trash new car. I can't wait to see what the next one's going to be. This one sucks. The old one's better." Blah blah blah. And it happens every generation of WRX. This was just such a drastic departure from the last one, and it was so controversial. Like, I don't know. I feel like that probably had a lot to do with them saying no. I really do.
I mean, it really comes down to the economics of it all. That's really the reason why cars aren't made, is because they don't have a business case for it. I'd be interested to see what the sales numbers have been like for the STI as it progressed through the different generations.
Better and better is the answer to that question.
Better and better. Okay, so
Yes.
like this doesn't make sense that they decided not to do another STI.
Yeah, and for anyone listening that wants to check out car figures, you can go to our great website. It's called goodcarbadcar.com. And you can get basically anything you want from Sales Figures. That's a great site to go look stuff up on. That's basically the source that I use for Sales Figures, other than Wikipedia, which usually has it wrong. But I think Good Car Bad Car is usually mostly North America. The WRX, and by extension the STI, has sold more and more each year till I think 2018 or 2019 when they started to fall off, because it was, again, an older platform. Usually it does this and then keeps going up and up and up. So there's like a good uptick, little dip, uptick, little dip, and it's the same thing, but it's always been a sort of a linear progression.
I've got another conspiracy theory. I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat here, because if you look back, and I hate how this happens, because when the Evo was fighting the STI, it was like great for a couple of years, and then the Evo started to kind of like kill off that entire line. And then the STI was the reigning king for like up until now. Then I'm thinking maybe Subaru doesn't want to compete anymore, because there's a pretty fantastic car that's coming out in the States, I think around next year. Everywhere else, there's this new car called the Toyota GR Yaris. And that is a sick 3-cylinder, right? Turbocharged all-wheel drive car. A version of that is going to be available in the States. We don't know in what form. A lot of people are saying the Corolla GR. That'd be cool. But I got a feeling that without WRX STI in the mix, I feel like the Corolla GR or GR Yaris is going to be like the new turbocharged all-wheel drive king. They don't nearly make the same amount of power, but I'd be interested to see like how the two compare. Again, tinfoil hat off.
I think it'd be really cool. And like, what are we sort of left with? Hot rally inspired, or at least
GR Corolla
in that realm of cars. It's the the Corolla GR that's coming out, your GTI/Golf R.
But even so, that's like the rally cars, the Polo.
Well, right.
Oh, yeah,
I'm just talking about like,
but we don't.
All right, so broader topic, hot hatch. What's left? Maybe a sedan, something.
Is it going to be all-wheel drive?
Honestly, like anything that's out there in this realm.
Veloster N, Type R,
Yep.
Civic, one of the 7 different Volkswagen hot hatches, GTI, Golf R.
I will throw in there the Mazda 3 hatchback turbo. I think that's a 2.5-liter turbo. I know you're shaking your head.
I agree with you, Justin.
It's
Focus is better than STI.
It's got all the right bits. It's got 2.5-liter turbo, makes
Does it say
275
Mazda
horsepower.
speed on the back?
It doesn't, but you can make it your own Mazda
down.
speed. But it has all-wheel drive.
So there are a couple of different options, but like it seems like a couple of years ago we had like 10 or 12. Now we're down to like what, 6, 7?
Well, that's the death of the car, right? The crossovers coming in and not axing cars left and right.
The last gen STI was $45,000 topped out, and people still bought that. The price point there is sort of moot because it performs like a $45,000 or $50,000 car. That's what an STI is supposed to do. And if you bought an STI and put it up against a comparable 3 Series, the STI would probably beat it in a lot of key categories. If you're talking $45,000, $50,000 car, the markups aren't going to last forever. Things will level off and come down eventually, but getting rid of the car just for that purpose, especially from a global standpoint, seems a bit silly, especially from a price point, because people are still paying these prices for these cars. Like, it's not like dealers are hurting. Dealers don't have inventory because people bought all of their cars. If they still marked it up, people would still go out and buy these cars. There are several salespeople I know in the United States that do basically, they go onto forums and they say, hey, I'm doing these volume sales for STIs, WRXs, whatever. I don't know how they make money on that, but I think it brings just in more notoriety for the dealerships themselves. But they basically just do that. Then you get people coming in and buying them off the showroom floor too. People would still buy it regardless of the price. That's not the issue. The issue is, I think Subaru just doesn't want to make something that they don't have to at this point, and they can focus their development on sort of the next step. I think they think that WRX is adequate. Maybe their performance transmission they're considering is the CVT. So maybe that says all you need to know. I don't know.
Well, technically a CVT is the best performance transmission if the engine can handle it, because it constantly keeps you in the right power band. As Williams found out when they tried to do an F1 CVT, it was like, yeah, we can't make peak horsepower always. The engine will explode. Right. Yeah, it's sad to see, because we're losing enthusiast cars left and right. It is cool to see someone filling the void until invariably it all becomes electric or hybridized, etc.